Today we're talking knives. What's up, guys? I hope you're having a great week. Today I'm answering the age-old question: what do you look for when buying your first knife? Now, if you didn't know, I write articles for a living for different knife companies about the products they sell. So I think I have the ability and the knowledge to answer this question thoroughly, and hopefully it will help some of you guys out when buying your first knife. Come on. So first, I think we should talk about fixed blade knives. Now, these two right here are from different sides of the spectrum as far as fixed blade knives. This is from Fox Knives. This is the Monkey Thumper, and this is from Randall. This is the Randall #1. World renowned, was in the Army for a long time, was in the Marine Corps, was in the military as a whole. But the 4 things you should look at when buying your first fixed blade knife is handle material, steel, what it feels like in the hand, comfortability, and the sheath material. Now, these two are very high quality knives. They're really good, sharp, they stay sharp. Now these two are at the forefront of the fixed blade community, but that's why I use these, because these are a very good representation of what you should buy, what you should look for in your first fixed blade knife. So to start off with, I'll talk about this Randall #1. Now, if you can get a good look at that, this is the Custom Fighter, first design, like I said, but it has this guard right here. It has the micarta handle. So first, let's talk about handle material. Now, micarta is really big in the knife community. It's super hard, durable. I mean, if you don't put it through hell, like you're not just banging it on stuff, it won't break. It'll stay as long as you keep the knife. Also, micarta has a very big, like, there's changes in it. So you start off, this micarta is really polished. So it has that look to it. It's black, it's slick, but it still grips on really well. This is also micarta on this Monkey Thumper right here, but it's a lot less polished. It has a lot more grooves in it, so you get a way better handhold on it. So take that into consideration when buying your first fixed blade, is the handle material, because that's what's going to be on the knife as long as you have the knife. That's what's your hand's going to be holding on. That's going to keep you from, cutting your hand if there's any sharp spots. It's going to keep it comfortable while in use, that kind of stuff. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the steel you use. Now, this is 01 tool steel, and this is Nickelock steel from Fox Knives. Now, that's Fox Knives steel. 01 tool steel is used in a lot of custom knives. But what makes the Randall really good is that the steel is very durable. It stays sharp. It's really easy to sharpen. So 01 is really, really good steel for a knife like this. But Nickelock steel, the difference between 01 and this steel is that this also stays sharp, but it's a lot harder. I wouldn't say a lot, but it is harder than the 01. So it keeps an edge a lot longer, but also is a lot harder to sharpen. So take that into consideration. And if you ever have any questions about steel, I've done this actually. If you see a knife you like the look of it, you like the feel it gives you, the energy it gives you, look up what is good about the steel it is. So if it's 01, if it's SV30, stuff like that, look it up, see what it says, like how good blade retention it has. That's how sharp it'll stay over time. How hard it is, that's what's going to keep it from breaking. If it's too hard, it's just going to snap. If it's not hard enough, it won't keep an edge. So that is really important to know when buying your first knife. Now, the third thing is the comfortability. Now, comfortability is really high on what I look for in knives. Now, this handle is pretty simple. I mean, it's oval shaped, but it's not circle shaped. And circle shaped is pretty bad usually. If, say, this handle was a circle, when swinging it or using it pretty harshly, like you should use a knife like this, it's gonna turn around in your hand, and you don't want that. Now, what I like to do to figure out the comfortability is close my eyes, grab a hold of the knife, and see if that's where it's comfortable in my hand. See, holding it like this is terrible, and I do have my eyes closed. But holding it right here, that's the most comfortable place right here. Grip it as hard as you want. I mean, if that's the comfortable place and the edge is true and straight, that's when you know this is a good, comfortable, high-quality knife. Now here, in the Monkey Thumper, this is a lot different shape of handle than from the Randall, but it still has that good handhold. It doesn't feel comfortable like that, but it does feel comfortable in the hand. And it also feels comfortable just like this. So that's a common knife fighting grip right here. The reverse grip is usually what it's called, but it's also really comfortable like this. But you hold it just like this, it feels really good in the hand, and that's why comfortability is super high on the things I look for in a knife. Because if you're going to use it, which you should use all your knives, that is the main thing that should be in a good knife. It's comfortable to use, it's comfortable to hold on to, and if it doesn't look comfortable, it's probably not comfortable to use or hold. So keep that in mind. Now the last thing I like to look for in a good fixed blade knife is the sheath material right here. Now this is good leather right here. Usually leather sheaths are really high quality. They usually have really hard edges right here, so you won't cut through it if you miss the slot right here a little bit. But in a custom knife like the Randall, they have really good stitching. Now this pocket right here has this is what you use to hone the knife, but it also has really good stitching along this too. So look for that kind of stuff in a leather sheath. Really close stitches, really high quality leather used, really hard edges. And then, on the total other of the spectrum, very 21st century-esque, is Kydex. Now Kydex is a really hard plastic. It's used in a lot of knife sheaths nowadays, but it's also a really good sheath because it's really high quality. It's not going to break super easily. It's going to keep that hard edge, just like I said for that leather, so it won't cut, so the blade won't cut through it. And the thing I really like about Kydex sheaths is if it is a good Kydex sheath, it'll lock right here where the handles start. It'll lock right there. So as you can see here, it locks right in. It's not coming out. It doesn't even jiggle at all. So pulling it comes right out easily. That's why. Sheaths are really important because, for one, that's going to be holding your knife. And if you like your knife, you don't want it to be destroyed while you're holding it or while it's on your person. But also, if you have this in scout carry, per se, like this way, you don't want it to be super hard to get out. You want it to be super easy to pull out. It makes it easier. It makes it faster to use your blade and to use it if you have to get to it quickly. That's what's really important. Now, like I said, those are the 4 things, really important things to look for in a fixed blade knife, because that's what gives it its quality. All those 4 things: comfortability, handle material, knife steel, and leather. Leather or the sheath material. But those are the really important things you use in a fixed blade knife. Make sure that if you look up the blade steel before you buy the knife, so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into and what's going to be on your hip for as long as you use it for. So now let's talk about folders right here. Now folders have a lot more higher popularity than the fixed ones, especially in this day and age, because the EDC era, you can just throw it in your pocket and go. You have a lot more freedom with what you wear. I wear a lot of shorts, a lot of baggy shorts, so it's a lot easier to throw one of these fixed blades in there, clip it on your pocket, go about your day, than having to worry about getting a belt, wearing these fixed blades around. But this might be what you're looking for. Now, if that fits your lifestyle, there's 5 things you need to know before you purchase a folding knife. The first thing is handle material, and handle material is even more important in the folders than the fixed blades, because as you see in this Spyderco Yojimbo 2 right here, all the stuff, all the lock right here is all between the handle material. So it's really important to have a really strong and durable handle material, or the knife is just useless. If it breaks, it's done for. You can't use it anymore. So there's a lot of different handle material, but the things I have up here today, there's a hard plastic like this QSP Platypus right here, a really hard plastic. Now the hard plastic is a nice handle material. In my opinion, you know, it looks different. It's a different looking, different feel material, but they have a lot different shapes. You also can add stuff in there. But also, there's steel and titanium, aluminum, stuff like that in this Benchmade bug out. But things I've run into when having a knife like this is if it has steel scales, it's a lot slipperier, like slicker when you're holding on to it. But what Benchmade has added on to this Benchmade bug out is these little grooves right here on the scales. So it adds, you know, stuff to hold on to on the handle. So that's really nice. Another thing to look for. So handle material, I like to look for micarta, hard plastic, or just steel. Now steel's in a lot more pricier folders, but look for the grooves in it because it's a lot easier to carry around. It doesn't slip out of your hand as much, stuff like that. Next thing is steel. Steel is also just as important as it is in fixed blades because that's the knife itself. That's the body of the knife. So something like this LCK Plus from CRKT, it has D2 steel, which D2 steel is really nice. It keeps a good edge, but it doesn't keep an edge for as long as the high quality steel they use in the Benchmade, which is SW30, I believe. If I'm wrong, leave it down in the comments. But it's a lot higher quality steel, but it stays hard, it keeps an edge, but it's also not as easy to sharpen as a D2 steel is. So, you know, you give and take a lot with blade steels. But if you don't know something about a steel of a knife you're about to purchase, look it up. It'll tell you what's good about the steel. So like D2, SW30, stuff like that, they'll have very high rust resistance. It'll keep it clean, stuff like that. But sharpness, how long it keeps an edge, stuff like that, that'll differ between blades. Third thing is comfortability. Now comfortability is really important because, you know, to carry it around every day, you want it to be comfortable in your hand. So usually knives have this little, what I call a finger choil, and that holds into your hand really well. It keeps it pretty comfortable. But knives also have this, like this sink cut right here. It's really straight. And I wouldn't personally use this or buy this for my first knife because since it is straight, it has no guard or any finger choil between your fingers and the blade. So say you stab it down really hard and you don't have it in mind that there's no guard here, your hand will slip, and this is a sharp knife, so it'll just cut your fingers all to hell. So make sure to keep that in mind. The third thing that's really, really important for this, and what I look for, is the actions in these knives. Now action's really important to me because that's what makes the blade flip out. That's the personality of the knife. Now, like this QSP Platypus right here, the heavy steel blade right here flips out with a fury. I personally don't like two-handed openings. I just don't like them. So that's why action's super important to me. It opens with a fury. Like this Benchmade bug out opens really fast with just a lot of quickness, and it's a really slick opening. So that's why I like it, like action. The fourth thing I like to pay attention to is the lock that they use. Now, this is Spyderco's lock. they use this back lock right here. It closes from the back. So if you're not used to that, it's going to take a little bit to get used to opening it like that. I know I did. When I first got this Yojimbo 2, it took a lot of time to get used to that back lock. But what most knives use is what's called a liner lock. So you got it on the inside. It's not on the frame here, but it is on the inside. That's why they call it a liner lock. It uses the liner to keep the blade from coming down. That's some of the most popular ones. But someone like Benchmade, they have this access lock here. That this right here you pull down. You pull down and it closes. All the lock is on the inside here. There's nothing on the inside right here or on the back side. So that's also another type of lock. But another type of lock that I don't have a knife here, but it's called a frame lock. And the frame lock, just like what's in the name, it's kind of like an access lock, just like on this QSP, but it uses the whole frame to come in and lock it, instead of just the liner. And personally, I don't like frame locks because it ruins the feel of the knife. If you have the frame come in and lock that knife out, your grip will come in and it just won't feel right. It'll feel weird. Also, some of them pinch you because of that difference in the handle. So that's some of the things you should keep in mind when buying your first pocket knife. But also, the fifth thing I think everyone should know about getting a knife, especially should know the laws in your state. Because like a full auto, one that you press a button and it flies open, some of those aren't allowed in your state, so you should really know the rules and regulations for what you need to know in your knives. So that is really important to know before you purchase your first knife, is what you're allowed to carry. We don't want anybody getting in trouble for carrying around a knife, and we don't want anybody getting into, trouble with the law, especially with carrying around a knife. So make sure to know your rules and regulations for which state. I'm in Arkansas, and there's not very many regulations for carrying around knives, so that's why I have that's why I'm lucky to be able to carry around all these different types of knives. So guys, that was my video. I hope you loved watching it, and if you have any suggestions or you didn't like something, make sure to leave it down in the comments. If you liked it, give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a dislike. But tell me what I did wrong so I'll be able to change it in the future and give you something you guys really love. Now, if you haven't followed me yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button, subscribe to me. Go down, look at my comments in my bio. I have my Instagram set up. I do a lot of stuff. I post Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also, you know what? Don't look at my TikTok. Don't look at my TikTok. They try to ban me. Do not look at my TikTok. I'm no longer posting on TikTok. But guys, other than that, make sure to have a blessed day and stay A to Z. See ya.
Sounds good.